Timeshift blog Earth's Catalogue of Genetic Material. To understand more about the history of our planet, and to be better prepared to understand the purpose of disclosure in the future, it is helpful to know about the non-terrestrial interest in gaining control over the genetic library that is found on the planet Earth and within the DNA of all of her inhabitants. Those non-terrestrial groups involved in genetic modification and testing experiments upon Earth inhabitants carry out this agenda to gain access to a massive catalogue of genetic material. The primary reason behind abduction has been for gaining control over the genetics of this Earth, to use those genetics to open stargates and to amass the genetic catalogue that could be taken into other planetary systems. The genetic material incarnated and found on Earth will only survive long-term and procreate while on the Earth timelines, as all living creatures born here are genetically key-coded into the collective soul of this planetary body. This mystifies alien groups who try to break the code to gain access and desire to take Earth-based genetic code to hybridize anywhere in the universe. They cannot figure out how to keep this DNA alive elsewhere, except with principles of hybridization, cloning and parasitism, which dilute and eventually digress the DNA. Cloning weakens the tissue integrity substantially. A brief summary that defines abductees for the purpose of amassing a genetic catalogue is described through a session transcript below. Who are abductees? Abductees are described as humans, both adults and children, that are abducted generally during sleep state for DNA testing, specific training, biological sampling, implanting, breeding programs for hybrid experiments and for an array of medical type of examinations. It is important to note that the consciousness of the person may be abducted on the astral plane during sleep, while the physical body remains asleep and undisturbed in its local reality. Abduction defines both alternatives of the physical body being removed from the local reality and taken to another reality, or the physical body remains undisturbed in the local reality, while the person is directed to undergo astral projection into another reality. Abduction can occur with extraterrestrial groups, or with human military programs that are both interested in controlling genetic material. Many alien abductees are people that may have holographic inserts implanted for mind control, memory lapses, lose time, have blackouts as their conscious memory is wiped from remembering the experience, only to have it resurface during a later trauma event, such as accidents, hospitalization or hypnotic regression. Most alien abductees are connected to family bloodlines where a history of alien abduction is present within that family, and it can be multi-generational with military backgrounds. See my labs. Many alien abductees that have been genetically enhanced, or augmented with hybridized alien genetics that have generated, potentially, a variety of higher sensory perception abilities, that are used for an agenda that serves that particular negative alien race. The person is implanted with small crystal electromagnetic patterns or type of foreign material that is not on the Earth in order to act as genetic accelerators. These may have enhancements or be severely compromising to the human being's immune system and harm their natural light body and consciousness. During the ascension cycle, more people awaken to have access to their unconscious memories and will discover they have had some event of abduction in their timeline. Catalogue of Genetic Material, Transcript. What I'm really feeling with cataloging the masses genetic material on the Earth is that it is a major reason for abduction. Over the course of the generations of alien abduction on our planet, I can see this is one of the main reasons why they do it. This falls under the genetic modification experiments that are carried out by multiple non-terrestrial species, although some of these groups may appear to have similar-looking bodies on the outside, their insides, the light body is different. They have manipulated the consent of certain family bloodlines that of course, do not remember that they have been held hostage under blood covenants, working for them in my lab's situations. These human cooperatives made with these alien agendas or the negative alien agenda group's alien agenda itself, that is operating independently in order to create a mass genetic catalog. They have compiled a catalogue of genetics in the exacting frequency of those genetics, and I see this broken down into lists of body parts. Meaning that the function of the autonomic system is broken down into very specific frequencies of control which are exerted upon the biology of the human being to generate effects upon those same body parts and autonomic bodily functioning. I can see that this is alien influence and an enmeshment in the human biology where they are broadcasting low EMFs and have been for a very long time. They are very detailed about the biological and physiological operation of the human body. They have catalogued this into a type of technology and art. The best word to describe it is that it is like a software database. They've put software together that has every single biological correspondence of the human being's body and how the physiological processes of that body actually work on the planet via frequencies. They have catalogued this list of body parts, functions and related frequencies from biological sampling of Earth's inhabitants. I'm seeing this group does not understand diamond sun architecture because what's happening to our plasma waves biology is not the same instruction as listed in their catalogue. These groups have put together this software with a database filled with all of this detail. They have been abducting people and they have been studying the genomes and the physiological processes and are very interested in the procreation functions of the human body, the sperm, the ovum, the creational process of alchemy between the sperm and ovum, male and female principle. When we look at that male and female principle coming back into balance through hierogamic union, the truth reveals in the perfect androgyny that is in the eternal living spirit of God. The truth is God has a wife and that the importance of the female counterpart as an equal in the process of creation has been completely ignored. Through all of this context, the energy signature is the slant of the negative alien patriarchy. They cannot even fathom that the Mother of God, the female principle in her wholeness, is a part of creation that they cannot control, so to speak. Or that their control is limited. Perhaps this is why they despise her. I'm still in the center of the planet Earth and looking at a software construct and database for human genetics. It is a software program that has been used to be interactive in the control of AI, nets and sending out specific frequencies based on a catalog of the human being's biological processes. It seems that is the main issue that we are having on planet Earth. Suppressing people during the bifurcation is via technological control. At this time, the more a person on planet Earth is disconnected from their inner spiritual source or their heart, or their desire to understand expanding consciousness or improve themselves, if they are really just in the physical body and external organs of perception, this very much amplifies the catalog of control. These frequencies are being aimed very specifically to physiological processes of the body to directly control that physiological process inside that human being's body. I can see that this occurs in stages. The directed technological frequencies have stages of autonomic control that gain access over the weakened human being. If the human being has allowed harmful behavior, or has a weakened consciousness, access to their bioneurology is made much easier. There are certain harmful behaviors that are very high risk that weaken the biology and weaken the soul of that person without their consent or knowledge most of the time. We have a lot of people on planet Earth in that state, existing in weakened biologies, weakened spirits, weakened and fragile minds. With a weakened and fragile mind, it is very easy to control everything else in the body as well as the consciousness. Therefore, I am observing how that autonomic control happens in stages where these frequencies are being pulsed. I feel why this is being brought to our attention is through understanding the surreal reality occurring to delineate sections in the state of bifurcation. As many of us have been talking about how strange it is when you come into contact with a purely third-dimensional being. A person who is only using their outward organs of perception, and how surreal their behaviors can be when they act from there. How there is an increased lack of coherence, a lack of cohesion within their thinking. For a lot of us, the lack of coherence is completely obvious, and yet, it's not obvious to them. It is surreal to observe such increased levels of incoherence in their state of being, and that they think it's completely normal. When you are observing them, one can see how abnormal it is and that it's influenced by something that is not natural or even technological. 3D people that are increasing levels of incoherence appear to be split, they don't make sense, they are easily set off, they can be clearly triggered with anger or with whatever the judgmental factors are that are running in their ego, personality program. Knowing this as we are undergoing this state of war over consciousness and in this weird transitional phase we are in with the bifurcation, seeing that there are sections of society, sections of people on planet that are being subjected to this level of atmospheric frequencies, meaning the lower atmosphere level of technological control. I'm seeing this AI, assimilation reality running on surface in the lowest density. It's very low in the low atmosphere, like on the surface grid of planet. Seeing that these areas that are still running by wave and are running these very particular frequencies that are meant to control the physiological process, every single one, they have cataloged this into a software database to transmit in the lower density. I can see that this database was formed from many abductions of human beings and animals on this earth, the collection of genetic material, the collection of various levels of physiology and then mapping this code out. This has relationship to some of the information we got last July, 2015, with the push in the transhumanism agendas, Jade Helm, Robin Sage and some military programs that they were starting to exert more control through artificial mapping of the surface grid of planet. This seems to be an extension of that where the mapping of the human body's physiological processes have been integrated. This is something that had been integrated into some artificial intelligence software that is being developed into more sophisticated operations of brain mapping in this moment. Again, understanding that the people that are enduring bifurcation in the lower descending pockets are the ones, unfortunately, that are enduring or suffering that level of saturation of these particular AI frequencies. This is because they are not realizing what they are being exposed to, the machine technological consciousness of AI, and how to change that or how to recognize it in themselves. Bearing witness to this, I think the important distinction is to understand that these frequencies that are being artificially mapped in the surface terrain of our planet to control the physiological process of human beings that are on this descending area of the bifurcation. This is the area of the AI, assimilation timelines in the lowest density. We are looking at the parameter frequency that's in 3D layers, 1D, 2D and 3D. It is the parameter that they are using in physical matter in order to control bodies physically. I can see that there are parameters of frequencies that were taken from genetic catalogs produced from Earth inhabitants' abductions, and they have done this in order to exert the controller and negative alien agenda groups' enslavement agenda on the people. Source: Ascension Glossary, Alien Abductees and Session Transcript February 2016. Category: My blog.